Yeah, hi, I'm Dave Pearce, formerly Radio 1 DJ, now do stuff for Six Music, Radio 2, commercial radio, and also I do my own records as well. Well, I just got down here this afternoon. It's the Friday that I'm at right now. Last year I came on the Saturday, and so yeah, it's been good. Nice to see some people. I just saw one of my former bosses from Radio 1, so I was having a little catch up with him, chewing the fat about the BBC and what's going on musically, and telling him he should be doing an EDM show on there. And I've been sort of seeing promoters and people that I know from around here. So yeah, it's good. It's a good kind of sort of networking thing, really. Well, last year I spoke on a panel which was looking at the history of house music, so that was quite good because I've been in the game a long time, and it was actually just after the sad passing of Frankie Knuckles, who I'd done a major interview with just sort of prior to his death. So it was a look back at kind of the early days of house music and how music's progressed. But I mean, I think if I do another panel, I'd like to talk about kind of where I am now musically, which is more in the electronic dance music scene. There's so many great producers out there, and I think it's one of the real issues for me as well is for the next generation is also, when you're putting so much time and energy and effort and creativity into making your music, is how you get some kind of reward for that at the end of the day. Because you can spend, I've just had it myself, I had a record on a pretty prolific Dutch record label, which is a great thing to be on, but we got a royalty check for about 200 quid or something. It took a good couple of weeks of to and fro with the record to get to make a great record. But as most people kind of get their music free, and the person that's made it doesn't get much. So I think there's got to be new ways of trying to help protect artists for the future, so that people will spend that extra time. When I had my label New Life with BMG, I was an A&R guy, and I would spend a lot of time putting an artist back in the studio, reworking a track. And that was an investment, and we were able to do that and give artists the chance to really polish their music, and that's why we had a lot of hit records. I think nowadays, you have to kind of work hard for every dollar. It's the real way of making the money out of the music now is making sure you have the live situation covered. Now, a lot of new talent is more kind of bedroom-based producers that maybe aren't going out and seeing how a club works. I grew up the other way around, DJing, from sort of 15 or whatever. We used to be allowed in clubs when you were underage, and that's a nightmare now with all the regulations and that. But it's really important to know how a floor works, actually. If you're making a dance record, and you don't understand the DJ perspective of how you mix a record, what it's going to do, what the energy levels are, and the trigger points, then it's a lot harder. And I think that's something that people need to look at when they're making records as well. It's really actually when I was running the record label, I would sometimes sit in the studio with even Above and Beyond when I had them as Ocean Lab, and I'd make them sort of shut their eyes and dance, and we'd pretend we were in a club. And so if there's a bit in the record where it's not working, you haven't really got a dance record, because you can't dance. You've got to think about how it works on the floor. Well, it's always good to come to something like BMC and meet new people as well as existing people that and you always bump into different faces. I go to the event in Amsterdam, and I was in Miami earlier this year, and you meet different people from around the world. This is nice to me. There's a lot of people from London and the southeast, obviously, but it's also nice to meet new people and pass on tips and stuff like that. People just come up and say hello, and that's cool. Well, I think for me, it's BMC this year is just about going around and not knowing who you're going to meet, to be honest. So, you never quite know. I just heard one of my old colleagues, Judge Jules, is here, so I didn't know he was coming today, so I'll probably go and see him. And, you never know what's around the corner, really. I think brands have a place. They've certainly helped propel nights, and I think Ministry of Sound's a great example of an all-encompassing brand where they had the nightclub, which is very successful, the record label, and a kind of lifestyle fit. Obviously that's a kind of corporate business side of it. When Chicago house music started, it came from black gay clubs in Chicago, and I'm old enough to have been to those clubs and known the people, and that was a whole different thing. But there is there's always a new generation doing the hot, sweaty 200 capacity venues. In fact, they're all the rage right now. So that goes on alongside the bigger things. So I think they both got their place. It is good to have. If you look at America, for instance, the infrastructure now on those big festivals that they have. I was at the Ultra Music Festival in Miami, and it is absolutely incredible to see the staging the dance stages when I was doing the big festivals when I was on Radio 1 were always the second or third stage, and you were lucky to get half decent lighting or whatever. But now to see just state-of-the-art presentations around DJs and seeing 20, 30, 40,000 people having a really great experience, I think it's an amazing thing. Well, I'm quite excited because I'm launching a new record label in Brighton. It's called Delirium. And the first record I've done with a guy that also, I live in Brighton, Ben Hennessy, who I sort of found on the internet, and we've done a cover version of Polaroid So Damn Beautiful. We've just cleared the samples from it, and so that should be on Beatport in about 8 weeks' time. So, and then we're going to sign other sort of local artists as well. So, help continue putting Brighton on the music map, but in the electronic market.
And where are you looking for new acts?
Well, we're going to set up a Facebook page where people will be able to submit demos, and that'll be following our initial release. So we're just going to launch the label first, and then do that. But I've already got contacts with people in Brighton that we're talking to about doing records for us, because there's quite a lot of new undiscovered talent there and bedroom producers. In fact, I was walking back from the co-op to get some cream for our cat. How domesticated is that? And this guy came out from the street, and he was a house music producer, and he dragged me into his bedroom and played me something. That's kind of like what it's like in Brighton. So there's always people making records somewhere.
And we may see these people next year at BMC.
Exactly. They will be here next year. So come down next year.